Welcome, everyone. It is January 31st, 2025, which feels a little crazy to say. Is that just me? Or does it feel crazy to say it's January 21st, 2025? Again, we were promised flying cars by now. We were promised all and colonies on Mars and the whole thing. Hasn't happened yet. We have gotten other things like magical computers that could go in our pockets that are more powerful than the computers on the moon missions. So we've gotten other stuff. Been an interesting last 50 years. So welcome everyone. We're going to do a little goal setting today. As you guys know, we've been doing kind of a mini series and opening up the Friday calls to the community. In a few weeks or so, again, I keep saying, and we will at some point, we will close off the Friday calls to those who are enrolled in our weekly and daily accountability group. But we have a lot of stuff we're trying to get out to the community, so we're keeping it open to the community for the next couple of weeks to see how much value we can get out there to help everyone out in our little goal setting series. We may not do one next week. We will be in Florida in the middle of a conference, so we'll see how it goes. The week after on Valentine's Day, is that right? 2 weeks, Valentine's Day. We will be looking at doing something, probably open it up to the community again. That's going to be about, um, Heather and I are talking about doing something about people pleasing. And maybe the first person we need to love and please is ourselves on Valentine's Day. Maybe Valentine's Day is a great day to love ourselves and and please ourselves. So we will work on that in a couple of weeks, putting something together on that I'm pretty excited about. Heather has some amazing ideas. She's been awesome in putting these together. So thank you, baby. I appreciate it. Um, a lot of you guys have seen Heather's been more involved recently, getting on the calls and everything, which to me, I love it. I love doing this together and being on together.
Thank you, Henny.
Mhm. Okay, Sugar. I know, and Sugar wants to be part of it too. He's he's a good puppy. So we're gonna start. We got to be mindful a little bit. Shit's crazy, right? It's not just me. And maybe you like the stuff you're seeing happening. Maybe you don't like what you're seeing happening. That's not the point. The point is it's still kind of chaotic, whether you agree or disagree with the stuff that's happening. It's still feeling for all of us fast and chaotic and perhaps changing faster than any of us are comfortable with. Again, that's separate from whether you agree or disagree with any individual thing that's happening in the world right now. But let's put our hand on our hearts. And actually, I do want to just take a second to think about 67 people died in the Potomac River the other day with the Black Hawk crashing into the American Airlines jet, including 14 members of the US figure skating team. And can you imagine if you were in a tight-knit community and 14 of your people in your community were dead suddenly? And what that must mean to that community, to their families. So just take a deep breath. A lot of us are in the healing industries. If you have healing energy and love and light to send out to that community, to the families, to everybody involved, it's a good moment to think about that and do that, right? Send out that healing and loving energy. 67 dead, that's 67 families in the country whose lives are completely upended and devastated. And it's okay to remember them. It's okay to think about them. Take that deep breath and be glad and be grateful for what we have and what we can achieve on a daily basis, because this is another reminder that what are we guaranteed? Right? We're guaranteed today. That's it. Yesterday's gone. We have today. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. So let's live in the moment. Those of you with children and puppies and kitties and everything are always reminded there's no yesterday, there's no tomorrow, there's only today. Let's live in the moment and appreciate it. Every moment is precious. And you all know this is why Heather and I do this in groups and community, right? If we are guaranteed only today in the moment, we're going to do it with the people we care about and the community we serve and love. So I'm glad you're all here. Now keep that hand on your heart. Keep going with the deep breaths. In a world that's chaotic and fast right now, we can slow down for just a few minutes. It's okay. We are safe. We are here. We have food in our bellies and roofs over our heads, which means we're the lucky ones. So keep with the deep breaths and keep slowing it down. Slow down the heart rate. Slow down your nervous system. Keep your mind here and now and shut out the chaos in the world right now. Okay. The chaos will, if you like the chaos, it will still be there an hour from now. It's not going anywhere. So let's shut it out and be here with each other and be present right now. Can we do that? Is that okay with everybody? Shut it out. The world is not going anywhere. It will still be there. Be here and now with each other in community. And keep taking those deep breaths and keep slowing it down. Get your nervous system off of high alert. I don't know about some of you. My nervous system has been on high alert lately. Let's bring the temperature down. Let's bring it way down. And I want us all to think about, how was yesterday? Now, yesterday is gone, and entropy is still a physical law of the universe, so we can't go back and undo yesterday. But I do want to think about yesterday a little bit. How did you feel yesterday at the end of the day? And don't think too hard about this. What feelings or emotions or sensations come up in your mind and your body when you think about yesterday? Please drop it in the chat. I want to see what you guys think. Or speak up if you want. If you're willing to be, speak up and be on the recording. How did you feel at the end of the day yesterday? There's no right or wrong answer. There's only how you felt, which is valid. Maybe these are empowering feelings. Maybe they are disempowering feelings. Maybe they're neutral. How did we all feel at the end
Exhausted,
of the day? Exhausted, yeah. I think Heather and I
stressed,
both,
worried.
yeah, stressed and worried. Her husband was in the ER. I felt exhausted from dealing with it. Also relieved that everything came back negative and you know, everything was fine. I would say grateful for I have high quality local healthcare and doctors I trust. Right. Donna felt okay, ready to get back at it. I like that, Donna. That's an empowering feeling yesterday, right? Ready
Well,
to
and
get back at
sometimes,
it.
yeah, and sometimes when we look at yesterday, we only touch on the high points, but did you have any feelings of frustration? Did you have any feelings of anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
And is that what you want to keep bringing to every day? And some of what we're trying to talk about is, with our goal setting, how do we become more intentional about how we're living our lives,
Mm-hmm.
even on a
Yeah.
minute by minute basis? How do we keep checking in and choosing the higher emotion?
Well, that's a great point. I definitely felt frustrated yesterday because I feel like I, quote, wasted 8 hours when I could have been being productive. But continuing to stay in frustration today is not going to help me catch up.
Right.
Right. Alice, relieved you completed a report due. That's great. Raymond, dread about work, but looking forward to the weekend. So there you go. You got something to look forward to. Anyone else want to share? How did you feel at the end of the day yesterday?
I felt very full.
Mm.
I cried about the crash.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
There you are, honey.
sorry, Zoom crashed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Zoom
I
crashed
went
on me.
out.
Yeah.
I cried for quite a while with the
Mm.
crash.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived near that airport for a long
Mm-hmm.
in DC many years. And I cried and cried. And then it led to crying about my husband's pain right now
Mm-hmm.
and getting homework done for a class I'm taking. And I went, I have to keep on keeping on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to mourn the losses, and then it's okay to then relate it to the stuff that we're struggling with. Some of you know Pat, and you know what she's struggling with.
Well, I didn't say the name of what it is, but there's a lot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm just saying that's why I didn't mention it. I'm just saying some of you know Pat and you understand. Pat's been a long time member of our community here.
Yeah.
So we get it. Yeah. But then I like how you started off saying you felt full at the end.
Yeah. And my worry
Mhm.
last night is I'm working on a class with Matt's Mark Silver. I don't know if you know him, but
Mm-hmm.
he is wonderful. And I'm taking his class on the art of money or heart of money.
Mm.
And it's my biggest issue to deal with. And I
Yeah.
could just feel opening and opening and opening and opening. So
Do
that's
it.
what I went to
Yeah.
sleep.
Open up those meridians, open up those chakras, open up your
All of them.
soul, crack yourself open, man. We are not going to help the world if we keep it sealed up in a shell.
Yeah.
We got to crack it open and let it in.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, I love it. Donna, anxiety and frustration. Donna, like many of us, I get it. I'm glad you have a good therapist and work through it. Obviously, Heather and I are big believers in therapy and energy healing and all the rest. All right. So take that deep breath again. And we know how we felt yesterday. And start thinking about how you want to feel at the end of the day today. Imagine how you want to feel at the end of the day. Tap your heart, tap through it, do your whatever works for you, right? We all have our different methods. Okay. How do you want to feel at the end of the day today? Not just how do you want to feel, but start feeling it because you can't get there. That's the weird thing about feelings is you can't get there if you don't start there. Wherever you go, there you are. If you're frustrated and exhausted now, there's a good chance you're frustrated and exhausted 8 hours from now, which is why we're slowing down and we're putting ourselves right now in the state of mind we want to be at the end of the day today. Today's a new day. Today's a blank slate. Donna, happy, contributing, connected. Oh, I love it. Don't we all want that? Happy, contributing, right? Feeling like we're doing good, connected to our communities. Again, it's why we do that in community, everything. I love it. Put yourself in that state of mind. The state of mind you want to be at the end of the day is the state of mind where you should put yourself in right now and start there so you can end there. Does that make sense? Are we good? Sorry, as you can tell, I'm probably doing this as much for myself as for everybody else. I know I needed it. Are we okay? Is it good that we did some of this mindfulness and getting in touch? All good. All right, thanks. So let's get started. My share is going to be a little awkward here because of the Zoom crash, so I kind of have to start things over a little bit. Um, da, da, da. Let me double check that it's sharing the right thing. It's not. Maybe it is. Okay. All right. Is the share working? We're good. Okay. So today we're going to talk about sort of a different goal setting technique. Over the last few weeks, we've been talking about this goal setting and loving it. And we're doing a little bit different technique every time because the point is the technique that works for me or works for you may not work for somebody else, and that's fine. So we're trying to look at different ways to do this to find out what works for different folks. So today we're going to talk about using brainwashing in a sense. We're going to brainwash ourselves into achieving our goals. Let's see how it goes. So yeah, again, we want you to have different tools in your toolkit because what works for one of you may not work for another, and that's totally cool. We're going to talk about something called the fate and fear method today. And we talk about this brainwashing. I'm curious if you want to speak up or drop it in the chat. When you hear brainwashing, what comes to your mind? What do you think of? I'll tell you the first thing that comes to mind for me is the Manchurian Candidate. Right? So we know what I'm talking about. When you think of
No,
brainwashing,
what was,
what comes to
yeah, you
mind?
think of,
I think of the Manchurian
right,
Candidate.
and oh, right, okay, I didn't hear
Yeah,
you.
the movie. Remember the old movie? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Anybody else? What do you guys think of? Again, shout it out or drop it in the chat. When you think of brainwashing, what comes to your mind?
Mine is anything but that. It's
Mm,
all the things I've been doing since 1971
hmm
in the human potential movement,
mm,
where you wash your brain of the old years of crap and
mm.
distortions, and
Yeah,
you let it be clean and open and ready to take in something that's very useful.
yeah. Oh, there you go.
That's what I,
That's an empowering way to see it. Liz, yeah, gaslighting certainly comes to mind. Raymond says cults for sure, right? Mental floss, Bob. I like that. Um, Donna, trying to get yourself to do things, but you're stuck. Alice, neurolinguistic programming. Sure, definitely. Honey, what
I
about
think
you?
about consumerism,
Ah,
commercials, politics, you name it,
uh-huh.
even religions,
Yeah,
all of it.
yeah. Marketing, advertisements, definitely. So we seem to have a good mix of sort of empowering and disempowering thoughts about brainwashing. I'm going to say, what if we could move more towards the empowering side, right? What if we could start thinking about it in an empowering way? What if we could use brainwashing techniques to help ourselves by brainwashing ourselves to accomplish our own goals? So some basic principles as we get into it. And I see some folks want to use the AI thing for note takers. I typically deny that. As an attorney, I'm very careful. Just so you guys know, no offense. I typically do not allow AI note takers on our calls, but I don't mind people asking. That's fine. So we talked about this the last couple of weeks, and I want to repeat it, right? So when you think about your goals, don't censor yourself and don't limit yourself. The more you censor and limit, the more your goals are going to be censored and limited. And what is the point of having goals if they're going to be censored and limited? Don't worry about what's realistic. Who cares? There's no realistic. There's only what you want and desire, and whether you're going to be determined and passionate and go after it. So don't be realistic. Forget that. It turns out to be easier to achieve bigger goals than smaller goals. In fact, if you set the bigger goal, you're more likely to achieve the other smaller goals along the way. Why? Because you're more passionate about the bigger goals. They're exciting. A little goal is not very exciting. A little goal, if you think I'm going to set a goal that's just an incremental improvement for me, well, that's fine, but it's not very exciting. It's not going to make you passionate about achieving it. It's easier to achieve the bigger goals. You're going to find that you'll notice the synchronicities and the opportunities in the universe if you're looking for bigger goals. So set goals that make you excited. This is a common theme we've been talking about over the last few weeks. Set goals that make you excited, right? You know, like my original income goal for this year was like, I want to improve our income by 25%, which is a perfectly fine, realistic goal, but it wasn't exciting. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to 10x our income this year. Hey, let's do it. Why not? And I'm not going to get mad at myself if I don't 10x the income. But if my goal is 10xing the income, do you think I'm definitely more likely to increase income by 25, 50, or 100%? Probably. If I have the big goal, I'm more likely to achieve something bigger. So step one in this process, and if you want to type it on your computer, pull out your notepad, whatever you want to do. Take just a minute to describe your ideal 2025 at the end of the year. Put it in vivid detail. What do you see? What do you hear? How do you feel? Right? Not just a number or a phrase or a description.
How do you want to feel in your relationships?
Your relationships, in your business, in your job, with your friends, with your own personal growth. And you don't have to do it all right now, right? You can always go back through this. The recording will be out, but just, pick something for the end of 2025. Doesn't have to be every goal, but describe some sort of ideal outcome in 2025. And again, think big, don't censor it. Think of some ideal outcome for the year if you knew you could not fail. If I gave you a magic wand that meant you could not fail, what would be one of the ideal outcomes for the end of this year? And again, the more detail, the better. Sights, sounds, feelings, sensations. It's going to help cement that in your brain. And like with a lot of the questions we do in these goal setting seminars, don't think about it too hard. Just writing it down quickly, stream of consciousness, is more likely to get in touch with what your subconscious mind really wants for you. Does that make sense? I'll tell you one of our ideal outcomes. I know, like for Heather and I, Heather, is okay if I talk about the lightning?
I'm not sure where you're going with that, baby.
Well, the Ford Lightning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We want a Ford Lightning pickup. Right? Because we're halftime in the mountains, we need a four-wheel drive. And because we're in a place where the power goes out all the time, we need something that can help with the power and generate. And we love the electric cars that get the automatic stickers for the carpool lanes. And we love luxury vehicles, I will say. Right. So the Ford Lightning fits the bill. One of our ideal outcomes for 2025 is a brand new Ford Lightning for us. And imagine sitting in it. Heather's driving it because she loves to drive. She's cruising. She's being a badass in her big pick 'em up truck. I'm relaxing in the luxury seat. We got plenty of room for the kitty cats in the back. Right? It's four-wheel drive, so we're not worried about how much snow is on the road. Nice big snow tires. Oh, feels good.
Has my air conditioned seats.
There you go. Yeah, she can feel the air conditioning on her butt. And I like the heated seats so I can feel the heat on my butt, right? That's what I say, sights, feelings, sounds, sensations, the roar of the motor, right?
Well, in my ideal, it wouldn't necessarily be brand new. It would be like new, but I would get the discount because somebody already drove it off the lot and took the depreciation.
Yeah, somebody already took half the depreciation when they drove it off, but it's only got 10,000 miles on it or whatever. There you go, right? But the reason that's an example of something that's easy to feel. You can imagine it, you can feel it, you can see it, you can hear it happening. And it's not just about the vehicle, it's about everything else we have to accomplish to be able to afford that and pay it off and pay cash for it to get there. Right? Everything else we'd have to do in between now and then that we can show up on the lot and just write a check. So that's kind of an example for us. Anyone else want to share?
Yeah,
I think for me, oh, go ahead.
no, you can go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, one of my goals is to maintain calm, peaceful, loving presence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, if that's the bigger goal, then I try to do things throughout my day that bring me back to that heart-centered awareness, that loving presence. And of course, I'm not perfect at it, but it's the goal to keep working towards, right? Because that helps all my relationships. It helps my relationships with my clients. It helps my relationship with my husband, my children, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pat.
Yes. One thing is I have brought back to being the original Elements of Genius card deck I created. And this is the natural genius that you're born with and gets trained out of us if we're not very, very, very careful, mostly trained out of us. And then the adult genius, the stuff that can only come alive when you're beyond childhood. And I pulled one for today that happened to be a childhood one, which is playfulness. Sometimes you choose to be silly and try things just for fun and laugh wildly. That's the beginning of it. And the adult one that popped up, commitment to full consciousness. You seek enlightenment that liberates your full potential and connects you to all the cosmos. You integrate all types of learning, psyche and spirit, in traditions of East and West, wisdom of the body and mind. And I ran out of these right when John's dementia got really bad, and it's time for it to come back. Now I want to use it with people with dementia.
Yeah.
And I have 3 books that need to get finished, and they're ready to go. So John is now in full-time care, so that I have time to do things.
Yeah. That's great, Pat. I love that.
I love the adult one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The what?
The adult one. I love that one.
The cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your card deck. No, it's awesome. And the playful. Why shouldn't we be playful? Like you said, Pat, these these things are beaten out of us as kids. Certainly figuratively and sometimes literally.
Often shamed out of us.
Shamed. Oh
I
boy.
got a whole list. Oh.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Let me see. Julianne, did you have something? No? Okay. Sorry, I thought yeah. All right. All right, now here's this part's not as fun. Describe your least desirable 2025. What's the least desirable outcome at the end of this year? And that's assuming you make no changes in your habits and behaviors. If you assume you're just going to stay the course you're going right now with nothing, you're not going to change how you think or feel or do anything. What's the bad outcome for this year? Where could it go wrong? And it's okay to get dark. It's absolutely okay to get dark here. There's a reason we're doing this. We're doing this, just so you know, because your brain needs contrast. Your brain has to contrast the dark, shitty outcome with the ideal outcome so that you start moving towards the ideal outcome, because the dark outcome is just not bearable. You just you can't do it. Can't take it anymore. You know, from the movie, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That's where you have to get your brain. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. So your brain's going to start gravitating toward the ideal outcome. What's the dark outcome?
So make it as real and vivid and excruciating as you can.
Yeah,
that's
feel
the
it.
point. Is to
Feel
make
the
it
pain. Yeah, exactly. Make it excruciating. I like that, honey. Make it excruciating. Describe your dark outcome for this year in excruciating, painful detail.
What is your worst case scenario? How bad can it get?
How bad can it get?
I try to live in how good can it get, but
Mm-hmm.
when you want the contrast, how bad can it get?
Yeah.
If everything goes wrong.
If you make no changes, you stay on your current course and everything goes to shit, how bad can it get?
Hmm.
You don't often see this question in goal setting, do you?
No, but I like it.
Yeah, I think it makes some sense. This is why we wanted to try out this new method today. I know a lot of folks are skeptical about this method. I am too, and that's okay. That's why we're trying it together to see how it works. Your brain needs the contrast. You have to say, I'm mad as hell and I can't take it anymore. I'm not going to that place. So you're going to gravitate to the good place automatically because that bad outcome is not bearable.
Well, this is how you get leverage on yourself
Mm-hmm.
because some
Yeah.
days you don't feel like moving towards your goal.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that leverage that says, if you do nothing today, if you are even acting, if you react in your anger and fight with your spouse, what is my marriage going to look like? How separate from that person am I going to continue to feel if I allow myself to snip at them or whatever, For me, it's like I feel some responsibility that I have not been more active in growing the business and being the leader, the thought leader, the psychological leader that I know I'm meant to be. And maybe if I would have gotten the business, maybe we wouldn't have the president we have, and things wouldn't be feeling so chaotic in the world, And so I have to take that responsibility that I did not do everything I could.
This is why you all are seeing Heather be more active on our calls this year, right? Not just these calls, but even the legal workshops. Heather's been much more active and involved and adding her expertise and her value. And as you can see, we love it as a couple.
Yeah, it's bringing us closer together, definitely.
Yeah, we're getting more connected as a couple by doing the work together, quote, the work, the good work that we're called to do as a team. Your bad outcome might be your finances go to shit. You can't pay your bills. Your health goes to shit. You get sicker. Right? Are we kind of starting to see the value of just taking a couple minutes? I'm not saying I don't want you to live in the dark place forever.
Absolutely not.
No, don't live in this dark place. I just want us to visit the dark place for a few minutes right now.
And you use it as leverage because that
Use it as
reality
leverage.
is so awful. You don't want it.
And it is a possible reality.
Yep.
So just don't live in the dark place. Just visit it for a few minutes right now. Write it down. And then if you want to, after you write it down, if you want to delete it, tear it up, throw it away, burn it, that's fine. We're just visiting the dark place to get a taste of it so that our brains can't stand it. And we are compelled to move towards our ideal outcome because we cannot stand the thought of our year ending up in that horrible place. Yeah. No, Katie, I mean, for a lot of us, it's tricky now. And actually, I know, Katie, you had to be late because you had other things happening. We started with some mindfulness. It's not easy. We're trying to shut out some of that outside world right now, Katie, so we can be here in community together and concentrate on what a great community of folks we have. So, Katie, I'm glad you were able to make it. All right, step 2. List the new habits and beliefs that are going to make achieving your goals easier and help you get to that ideal dream place for 2025. What are the new habits and beliefs you need to install? Those new habits, they could be lots of different things. Daily accountability, getting up earlier, exercising, eating better.
Working on your inner peace.
Working
is
on
that
your inner
daily-
peace.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
that daily meditation? Is it,
Uh-huh.
you know, I don't know.
And the new beliefs. I am good enough. And fuck everybody who doesn't think so. That's their problem, not your problem. I am good enough. I am smart enough. Do the Stuart Smalley, right? The SNL. You guys remember the old SNL? The Stuart's, what was it? Stuart Smalley, Stuart Smiley. It was you guys know what I'm
Smalley.
talking about, right? He looks in the
Yeah,
mirror at the
Stuart
end and says,
Smalley.
you know, I'm good enough, I'm nice enough, you know. It was a joke, but it was also real,
And gosh
right?
darn it, people like me.
And gosh darn it, people like me. That's right. That's how it ended. Thanks, baby. Yeah. And gosh darn it, people, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Those are beliefs, right? And wouldn't you rather have that belief than the opposite? I'm stupid, I'm not enough, and nobody likes me. That's not an empowering belief system that's going to help you achieve your goals. Right. And it's easy to fall into that disempowering belief system because of the world we live in is always telling us that we're not good enough and we're not smart enough and nobody likes us. Well, the world is wrong. I'm telling you, they're wrong. Because you are good enough, you are smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. That's why we
People
do
love
this
me.
together.
People
People
love
love
me,
you.
and
That's
I
right.
can love me.
And ooh, that's the hard one. That's where I get stuck, right?
You
I
know
can
me,
love
I like to
me.
push
Ooh,
the buttons.
I know. She knows my buttons. I can love me. Oh, I don't know. That's hard. But that's the new belief I need is that I am lovable. I am so lovable that I can love myself and do love myself. That's the new habit and belief I need to install. Anybody feel that?
Yeah. I want to say something.
Please, Pat. Yeah.
Um, I have a very clear picture of how badly things could go for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hell right now, but it's also joy. You know, I have the joy with John and with me.
Mm.
And I can see I've got in my file 3 books that are almost done that need to be finished. And the card deck to get redone. And it's not going to be that hard. And I think they'll be useful. They're not going to be the best thing that ever happened in the world, but they're going to be very useful to the right people. And I have the means to do promotions without having to spend much money, but having to do it. And I can see that. And I really need to see how much it matters to me that I do everything I can, not just for John, but for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for you. And that's, that's the hard thing for some of us as spouses. Like I want to make my wife happy so bad, but I can't make her happy. And it's not my job to make her happy. It's, it's my job to love her and support her and be a kind and loving and generous husband. But I can't make her happy and she can't make me happy. And that's what some of us as spouses, that's the hard thing to learn, right?
Well, mine is more
Mhm.
like now, I see if I make sure I get the 25 miles away from here, even though I can't drive right now, I'll probably be able to drive shortly. And when I walk in there, John's face lights up.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have the opportunity to go out of this place where he's cared for safely.
Right.
And I see him light up when I come in.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have something I want to share with him that I'm doing, I see again how he lights up and then he adds his part of it.
Yeah.
And it's always wise.
Mm.
He gets, it's the pain of knowing I'm going to lose him within the next few years. I can live with that. I cannot live with, and I didn't do enough to help him or me.
Well, right. Or you, only you can help you and only
Yes.
you can do your work to help the world. And I'll tell you what, Pat, If you get that card deck finished up and reprinted, we will promote it to our list. How about that?
Yes, thank you.
And I
I
think
like-
others will as well.
Yeah, it's a great deck.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. I've gotten a taste of it
Yeah,
over time from you. And Heather and I will promote the card deck to our list. So just a little extra incentive for you.
thank you.
All right, so now I want you to list the current habits. So again, we're going to go dark. We're not going to live in the dark place. We're just going to visit the dark place for a couple minutes to get a taste of it. What are your current habits and beliefs that will lead to the shitty outcome, that will lead to the dark place at the end of the year? What are the current habits and beliefs that if you don't get rid of them and don't change them, lead you to that bad place this year? Maybe it's staying up too late. Maybe it's doom scrolling on your phone. Anybody do that? Maybe it's getting caught up in the chaos and overwhelming confusion. Maybe it's letting what other people say about you affect you. Instead of realizing that when people say something about you, that's about them, not you. Maybe it's feeling like it's a judging yourself. I'm too lazy. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough. The current habits and beliefs that lead to the undesired outcome. And this is about the contrast, right? We're not going to live in the dark place. We're just going to visit it for a minute to see what it looks like and feel how it feels so that our brains are drawn and locked in to achieving the good outcome. And this is what I find this method interesting. We haven't taught this method before. We've only just learned it recently. I've not yet seen a goal setting method that has us go to the dark places, but I'm finding it useful personally. Anybody else seeing why we're doing it? You see how it's useful to go to that dark place? Sometimes goal setting is all positive roses and puppies and kittens, which is great. I love roses and puppies and kittens too. But if you don't feel the darkness, your brain doesn't have that contrast and it doesn't know what the stakes are. We have to have stakes involved, right? It's like laying down a bet at the racetrack. If you lay down a bet and you have no money involved, who cares what happens? If you lay down a bet and you stand to lose money, suddenly you care, right? There has to be real stakes involved. That's why we're just visiting the dark place for a couple minutes at a time. Any questions? So we're going to do some things now. We call it the fate and fear model from how we learned it. So the fate model, it's going to start with focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. So we'll start with fate, focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. I think I messed up my slides. Hang on a second. Might have gotten a couple things out of order, so don't worry, we'll fix it. These are first world problems, folks. First world problems.
Well, and we should say that we learned this from Chase. I don't remember his last name.
Yeah, he's a forensic psychologist, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me fix my slides. All right, sorry. First world
Yeah,
problems.
he's been in the military and he does YouTube things and
Mhm.
he's a behavioral psychologist.
Sorry about that. All right, is the share working again? Is it showing a full screen share? Okay. Yeah, all right. All right, so again, my bad. Focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. So we start with fate. So focus. How are you going to maintain focus on these goals? Not at an intellectual head level, but in your lizard brain in the back, right? In your brain stem where things happen automatically. Think about what you can use to main focus on your goals. Again, this is why we wanted to talk about seeing things in vivid detail, seeing, hearing, feeling. Think of the images, your surroundings, the repetition. What sort of things can you do to maintain daily focus in a way that it affects your animal brain right there in the back of the base of your head? Not the intellectual, logical brain, the animal brain, the instinctual brain, the emotional brain. Then think about authority. How can you leverage authority and social proof? Are there people you can watch and listen to? Are there podcasts and YouTube videos and Facebook feeds and Facebook groups? Are there experts you can follow to use their guidance? I mean, there is a massive amount of podcasts and YouTube content out there about achieving our goals and maintaining focus and having real life examples of people doing it. Tribe. How do you involve other people? As you all know, Heather and I are big fans of involving other people, which is why we do all this in groups and community, right? You guys know that. How do you involve other people? You want to be able to share the celebrations of your achievement with your tribe, and you want to celebrate in their achievements, celebrate with one another together, and hold one another accountable. And by accountable, I don't mean people are getting, you know, whips and chains. Accountable is not a bad thing. Accountability can be loving and positive.
Not shame based.
Yeah, not shame. It's not shame. It's not punishment. It's love. Accountability can be love and support. So, how do you involve a tribe? We are a tribal species. We did not evolve to be alone in the jungle. We find support in tribes. Folks who believe the earth is flat, why do they believe the earth is flat? It's not because of logic or evidence. It's because they're part of a tribe where they feel like they belong and have love and support.
Understanding.
Understanding. Yeah. And then emotion. Create an emotional attachment to the future self. Imagine the you a year from now and love that you. Picture that you. Attach yourself to that you. Have a conversation to that you a year from now. What is the you a year from now when you've achieved these amazing goals? What does that you look like and sound like and feel like? Imagine that person and connect to that person. as though they're real, because you know what? They are real. You're going to make it real. Create an emotional connection to the you that you want to be a year from now. Make that person your best friend. Talk to them. Look in the mirror and imagine them. Can you see why that's important? You want to be best friends with that version of you that you're going to be a year from now. And that's how you become that person.
You could even ask that person what he or she needs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have to take a 5-minute break because there's something I have to do on the other computer real quick. So let me see. I can stop sharing. Honey, do you want to
Stop the
guide the
recording.
conversation? You want me to stop the recording? Yeah.
Yeah, stop the recording. This gives
All right, we can welcome back everyone. We're on the recording again. So again, now that we're on recording, this will go on YouTube. Let me get back to the screen share. All right, so we talked about the fate part of it. And now, so step 4, again, pull out your computer, your notepad, whatever you need to do. List 3 high leverage habits you can adopt this year to help you achieve your goals. You know, and I tend to, as an old engineering major, my first undergraduate degree was in engineering. So when I think of leverage, I think of physics, a long pole to lift a heavy thing, right? That's what I think of leverage. But here, of course, we're talking about metaphorical leverage, getting the most benefit with the least cost. What are the 3 habits you can develop this year? Just 3. If you want to develop more, that's great. Just think of 3 habits you can develop this year that are high leverage, where you are getting a lot of benefit for little cost. So some examples, these do not have to be complicated habits. And it only takes a couple weeks to develop a new habit. They can be very simple things. Maybe you're just going to go to bed earlier or get up earlier. Maybe you're going to read a book instead of doom scrolling on the phone. Maybe it's 20 minutes of exercise. Maybe it's 20 minutes of meditation. Maybe it's as simple as buying fresh vegetables at the store and eating healthier. Or, of course, as some of you have done already, joining an accountability group. Something you can do that gives you a lot of benefit with low cost. My big three things this year already are: 1 is going to bed earlier, so I'm more awake in the morning. 2 is doing 20 minutes of exercise every morning, first thing when I get up. And number 3 is the daily accountability group. Those are my 3 high leverage habits. And now that I'm a month into it, they already feel like second nature. They just happen. I don't even have to think about it, just a month into it. Bob, yeah, you're right. Great point, Bob. The 80-20 rule. 80% of results from 20% of the effort. You're right, Bob. That's a perfect example of leverage. I love it. Thanks, Bob. Does anyone want to share what the 3 habits are they're thinking of? It's 11:11 on the West Coast for those who find that sort of thing interesting. What are 3 high leverage habits you can develop this year?
Ah,
Pat, yeah.
oh,
Oh, sorry. Were you going to say something back?
Yeah, I thought you called me, but anyhow, one of them for me is finish something every day. It could be a
Mm,
small thing, but make a habit of finishing things.
love that.
Um, uh, and that could be a piece of writing, a short piece, not the
Mhm.
whole book. And one of them is definitely getting up earlier every day.
Mhm.
And the other one is starting my day with workout.
Yeah. I love that idea of finish something every day. And it doesn't have to be a massive thing. You don't have to write a book every day.
No,
Maybe my goal is to write 500 words today,
yeah,
right? You could do that. Donna, healthy eating, earlier bedtime, daily exercise. There you go. Can you guys see how something as simple as that? It sounds simple, right, Donna? But it's a big deal. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm eating more veggies. I'm going to bed earlier, and then I'm getting up early and exercising. And I'm now finding that I'm actually awake longer and more energized because of it.
Yeah,
And if
it
I'm awake
sounds,
longer and more energized, oh, Donna, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it just sounds really simple, doesn't it? And I was like going over it again and again because it seems so simple, but honestly, it's what I need to do. And
Hmm.
because it plays a part in all the other things, it plays a part in having focus, in
Mm,
having energy, and being able to follow through on the other things I want to do.
yeah. No, you're right, Donna. It's such a great foundation, right? So a couple of years ago, Heather and I went to bed. What we were going to bed at like 1 in the morning, getting up at 10 a.m., eating hamburgers all day.
Not hamburgers, but yeah.
But
Eating whatever we wanted, yes.
whatever we wanted, who cared, whatever, right? And we were not accomplishing very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
Now we're going to bed early, we're getting up early, we're exercising every day, and we're making sure that healthy things go into our body. And we're more focused, we're more energized, we're getting more done, which means in turn, because we're all in the healing industry in one way or another, we're helping more people.
yeah.
I really like that, helping more people. I really like
Hmm.
that.
Well, that's the ultimate goal, right? You get to a certain point in life. I hate to say a lot of us, um, there are some younger folks on here, but a lot of us are to the point in life where we have fewer days ahead than we have behind. And if I'm not using those days ahead to help people, then what the fuck am I doing? What's the point? If I'm not going to make a difference in people's lives, why am I bothering at this point?
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Oh, Bob, that's great. I love it. Design your day around small wins, Bob says. Isn't that great? Small wins that you're likely to achieve. Stack up. I love it, Bob. That's awesome. Design your day around those small wins. You're going to feel confident. You're going to feel like you're fulfilled in doing something because you are fulfilled in doing something. You know. Anyone else have an example of the three high leverage habits you're going to develop this year? I know some of you are already working on those habits, obviously, and that's great.
Well, I've heard of one habit that sometimes they recommend is just making your bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just
Yes.
thinking of doing with that right now. I can see my unmade bed from here. And I said, and I can listen to you all, so it'll be okay to go make my bed now.
There you
Uh-huh.
go. No, that's a small effort that has very high leverage, a high benefit. And for some people, it's about they see that it's neat and tidy and they feel good about it and accomplished. For me, it's about not wanting to get back in bed. When I see an unmade bed where the sheets are everywhere, I want to crawl back in and cozy up with my wife and kitty cats and go back to sleep.
Uh,
That's what the unmade bed does for me. When I see a made bed, I'm willing to let it go till it's bedtime. Right now, I'm looking at an unmade bed with a puppy who just made nested himself in the sheets, and I tell you, it's very tempting. It's very tempting to just crawl in bed with the puppy and snuggle up. That's literally what I'm looking at in front of me right now. All right. What's that? Yeah, Donna, you get it. All right, so we did fate. Now we're going to talk about fear and why fear. Fear seems like a strange acronym, but fear is the great motivator in life. We are descended from the scarediest of the scaredy cats because fear kept our ancestors alive for millions of years. Fear is the single great motivator, right? Which is why, even though I said don't live in the dark place, we wanted to visit the dark place for a few minutes today because we don't want to go there. We want to go visit it for a second and say, that's scary shit. I ain't going back. So I'm going to the good place. So fear, again, we're going to talk about more about focus, more about emotion, agitation. Let's see what that means. And repetition. Focus, emotion, agitation, and repetition.
Hmm.
So focus. How do you keep your daily habits in your daily focus? If you're going to make these new habits, you can only make new habits if you can find a way to focus on them. How are you going to do that? Are you going to set an alarm and a reminder on your phone? Make positive use of this fancy computer in our pockets instead of doom scrolling with it. Put it to good use. It can have infinite number of reminders and alarms that pop up. Maybe it's a regular schedule with the new tribe that you're joining and forming. That keeps it in your focus.
Do you remember the hourly thing we had for always being connected?
It still pops up on my phone.
Yep. For inner peace, always be connected. Every hour, you just take a moment, you breathe in, put your hand on your heart, and connect to inner peace, love, whatever. And for that few seconds, and then you move on with your day.
Yep, we call it ABC, always be connected. It pops up on my phone at 55 after the hour all day long. And when it pops up, my phone buzzes and it's a reminder for me to step back for a second, put my hand on my heart and be connected. Right? How's that for a daily habit? Maybe it's on your calendar. I have an app that guides my exercises now. It has a fancy AI to custom design my exercises. And if I don't do my exercise in the morning, the app pops up with an alert that's like, hey, buddy, you forgot to do your exercise. Let's do it. Right. So that's how I even on the mornings where I forget my exercise, my phone won't let me forget my exercise.
That's accountability too.
It is, yeah.
Along with your wife asking, did you do your exercises today?
My
baby?
wife does ask, did you do your exercises? and I don't like to lie to my wife. So I want to be able to tell her honestly, yes, I did. And the great thing is mine, I can do them anywhere. All I need is a chair and a floor to do my exercises. So even now when we're at the office at 6 a.m. this morning, I was in the hallway doing my exercises with the chair. Emotion. How do you bring the new habits into an emotional realm so you get connected to them? You have to feel good about them. If the habit you want to develop makes you feel like shit, it's not a great habit. You're not going to do it. It's got to be something that makes you feel good about yourself. Right? So some of my new daily habits over the last month, going to bed early. I feel good about myself because I wake up feeling better in the morning. 20-minute exercise in the morning makes me feel good about myself because I have more energy. Pick something that connects with you emotionally. Eating vegetables makes me feel better about my body. Our daily accountability group makes me feel good because I connect with people I love every morning. Right? These new daily habits, pick things that are going to make you feel good.
And are in alignment.
In alignment, yes.
With your future you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the you that you are picturing a year from now. Pick habits that the you, because remember during the fate part, we talked about connecting with the version of you that you're going to be a year from now. So now choose habits that are going to make today's you become the future you that you want to be. Make sense?
Does anybody need any feedback or help?
And it's okay if this is a lot. Don't worry, you'll get the recording. You can go back through it again.
Well, and we are always available for consult.
Mhm. So focus emotion. The A is for agitation. Stir it up. Stir up your pot. Yesterday, I did a deliberately inflammatory Facebook post to agitate people and stir up the pot. Why? Because I'm tired of everybody having a calm, rational discussion. I wanted to know what people really felt about the issue. I wanted to know what they really felt. I wanted some honest talk between people who disagree. So I wrote a deliberately inflammatory post to stir it up. And boy, did we get some honest talk on there. It was awesome. Agitation, disruption, stir it up. How do you disrupt your life and your environment? So, because it's so easy to go through our life with a daily script. Take your daily script and tear that shit up and burn it. Disrupt your life, disrupt your daily script, create novelty, because novelty means you start paying attention. This could be as simple as you set an alarm to go off at a random time and tell myself when that alarm goes off, I'm stopping what I'm doing and I'm going to do something else. Maybe if you're inside all the time, it's getting outside. Maybe if you're outside all the time, it's getting inside. Maybe it's moving your furniture around. Maybe it's painting a wall. Maybe it's finding a new recipe and cooking something different tonight. Maybe it's going to a new restaurant with food you've never tried before. How do you agitate? How do you stir up your own pot and disrupt your own environment? If we, there is
I don't
a,
need to. my
So-
environment happens all the time.
it does. Yeah, Heather and I have set up our lives so that we have constant disruption and agitation. That's literally just how our life works. We're rarely in the same place for 1 week in a row anymore. Right? So we've literally set up our lives to be agitated and disruptive because then you have to pay attention. There is something to
Stay
be said,
aware.
right?
Yeah.
And this is the balance with habits, right? So I want you to form those high leverage habits, maximum benefit with minimal effort, daily habits. But that doesn't mean I want you to live your entire day on a script that plays out the same every day. If your whole day, every day lives on the same script, then you're just cruising. What's the word in the Napoleon Hill book, Conversations with the Devil? Drifters.
Drifting.
Yeah, then you're just drifting. Right? I don't want you to drift through life on the same script every day. Change it up.
Well, it's like
Whatever you
going
gotta do.
unconscious. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like I said, it can be as simple as going to a new restaurant you've never tried, rearranging the furniture in your living room, putting different colored bedding on your bed with fancy patterns that look funky. Whatever you have to do to disrupt your life. Oh, Donna, I get it. Donna, can you tell us some more about that?
Well, it's interesting because when you started talking about the agitation, it was just like an aha moment that
Mm,
I work really hard to have this peace and calm. And my life in the past has been disrupted a lot, but not in a positive way.
mm,
Just too much drama and too many people with drama.
mm-hmm.
And so I've worked really hard to have kind of quiet and stability, but I can see this, and I think I've gotten to the point where I resist anything disrupting my life, and I'm not going to get where I want to go if I stay there.
Mm.
So this was really helpful.
Donna, I love that. I love your admission at the end, your vulnerability. I'm not going to get where I want to go if I stay there. Right? It's sort of the old thing. What's the definition of insanity? Is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
True.
So, and I understand the need for calm and routine, but there, like I said, there's a balance there. I'm trying to help us all form daily habits that create a routine that's positive. But at the same time, outside of those daily habits, man, we got to mix it up.
Well, you know what what reminds me of what Donna said is those people who try to eat so pure and healthy and clean and
Mhm.
avoid all of the stuff, and it actually makes them so sensitive that they can't tolerate.
Right.
And so
And
some of it
mhm.
is learning how to move through the chaos because the world is always going to throw something at you. There's always something going on. And the goal is to build up your ability to transition, to adapt, to be peaceful through whatever's being thrown at you in the moment.
Mm,
That's how you create more inner peace, is not by
mhm.
excluding yourself and hiding yourself away on the mountaintop. It is, how do I stay loving and peaceful while somebody is, you know, harping at me, or, throwing a verbal grenade. Do I need to set boundaries? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? And how do I expand? Because right now I just found out there's a nail in our tire.
Super. Okay. No,
That's
let's
okay.
get it fixed.
So I'm just sitting in the car waiting for my time to come up, and it's
Hmm.
okay. Everything's okay. I'm in a
Everything
safe
is okay.
and I'll have to try and figure out what I'm going to do because I have an online client at 12:30, but that's okay. I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. The great thing with the modern technology is you can do the Zoom from the phone if you have to. And
Yep.
okay.
And sit in the rain, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Because I don't want to, I have to have some amount of solitude. I can't sit in the waiting room and have a session. So,
Right.
you know, but it's okay. Or I'll reschedule with him. I'll
Hmm.
figure it out. Everything always works out. And
Everything
just
always works
having
out.
that faith and belief, and the lives we've created, and taking
Hmm.
that responsibility.
No, I love that, honey. The responsibility and the agitation is part of that responsibility, right? Because if you don't mix it up, somebody else will mix it up for you in ways that you don't want. Right? Donna, like you said, you're trying to avoid everybody else's drama and bullshit, which good because you don't need their agitation. That's them agitating their lives. That's not your problem. That's their problem.
Yep.
So agitate your life, stir it up in a way that you like. Does that make sense, Donna?
It does. I'm loving this conversation. Yeah, this was really helpful.
Good. I'm glad everybody's getting value. Yeah. So mix it up, man. Stir it up, mix it up. Heather and I have how many places to sleep do we have around just the state of California? Lots. Right. So whether we're in Northern California or Southern California, we have what, probably 10 places we can on any given night go to sleep if we needed to.
Well, and right now, because we're planning the Florida trip, the back seat of the car is a bed.
Yeah.
So,
And we planned out which nights we need to be in which cities to sleep because there's certain cities where we know there's a good bright spot to sleep that's safe. And even that's just a guideline, right?
Yep.
Those are just waypoints. Maybe we make it to that city, maybe we make it farther, who knows? Stir it up, stir the pot. Ain't nothing wrong with stirring the pot. You know, you're making a delicious stew in your crock pot. You're going to go in there every couple hours and stir it up. So agitate. Your washing machine, how does it clean stuff? It doesn't clean stuff by just letting stuff sit in the water. It cleans stuff by what? Agitating.
Wow, I just had my aha.
Oh, okay. What's that, baby?
Well, okay, so, if the goal is to elevate our inner peace and experience,
Mm-hmm.
part of the cleaning process is the agitation.
There you go.
Wow.
How's that?
I
Right,
feel
it's-
it in my heart. Like, wow, that really hit me.
That's hitting me like I'm getting in my sternum. Anybody else feel that? If you got to clean shit out, if there's shit in your life that needs cleaning up, do you have to agitate it? You feel that?
Wow, yeah.
It's not going to get clean by letting it
Breathing
sit.
into that one.
Yeah, breathe into that. I'm getting the anxiety and everything. So that one hit me too. Good job, honey. Thanks a lot. She's agitating me right now. Right? If you want to clean up your shit, you got to stir it up and agitate it, just like the washing machine.
Oh,
Oh boy.
yeah.
This is why we wanted to try this new method today. I didn't know how this was going to hit. Now I think I like it. I think we're going to do this one again. Should we do this one again? Is this a good one?
Yeah.
So focus, emotion, agitation, and repetition. Daily monitoring. Right? So there you can see there's a balance here. There's the agitation of mixing it up every day, making things unpredictable so you're paying attention. But the most important high leveraged habits you have to do every day and monitor them. There's a balance. Okay, it's not one or the other. It's not all routine, it's not all agitation, it's both. So right now my daily habits include that: eating more vegetables, going to bed earlier, exercising every morning, doing the daily accountability, right? But each of those habits only takes a few minutes each. They don't take up my whole day. Otherwise, my day is disrupted and agitated. There's a balance. So repetition. And pretty soon the daily habit takes over. And even the daily habit doesn't have to look, Heather and I are eating more healthy, but you know what? The other day we had hamburgers and they were great. They were delicious. It's okay. You don't have to eat asparagus and broccoli every day. You can still have a hamburger. It's fine. Mix it up. In fact,
Mine
I
was a
tell you what,
Lamb
yeah, she had a Lamburger, right? That hamburger or Lamburger is going to taste better if you're eating vegetables most of the time.
Yeah.
That pizza is going to taste better if you're eating healthy most of the time. And I'm not saying the hamburger and the pizza are necessarily unhealthy. Some of them can be done in a pretty healthy manner. Daily monitoring. Ask yourself, am I doing the habits I wanted to do today? It only takes a minute. Maybe it only takes 30 seconds. This is part of our morning gathering that we do, those of you who are in it. Right? Because when you know there's people counting on you to show up every morning on the Zoom call, that creates a habit. I shouldn't say counting. I don't want to make you feel bad if some of you can't make it. Sometimes you make it, sometimes you can't, right? But it creates the habit. So that's the fate and the fear method. All right. Are we finding this helpful? What I'd like to know.
I love that, Bob.
Oh,
About
Bob, that's great.
Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah. Bob, that's great. Bob is in the chat there talking about Maslow's hierarchy. Safety, security, social and personal needs, Then we move on to the higher goals, self-actualization. Right? We've all heard of that, right? This is why things like for example, I'm a big fan of Catholic charities. I'm probably on paper I'm still a Catholic, even though I'm not a practicing Catholic, but Catholic charities, their entire thing is safety and security first. Do you have food and shelter? We're not going to come preach to you. We want you to have food and shelter first. Otherwise, nothing else matters. Yeah, that's great, Bob. Love it. Any questions? How are we doing? Is this useful? Do you guys like this method? Should we do it again? Donna's finding it valuable. Yeah, the conversation around it. Again, Donna, this is why we do this together, right? Does everybody see why it's better to do this together? We could have had one-on-one conversations with all of you, which would have been very time intensive for all of us. It's so much better to do it together. Donna's like, yeah,
Absolutely.
do it again.
Repetition is the mother of skill. We get better and better the more we rehearse, we repeat, rinse and
Mhm.
repeat, right? Isn't that a cleaning with the washing machine too?
That's the thing, rinse and repeat. Right? Why do I tell people I've been now practicing law for 25 plus years? It's not to impress you with my experience. It's to show you that I've been repeating these skills for a long time. Oh, Bob, I love it. This is the pandemic we need. There you go, Bob. Let's infect the world with this, Bob. I love it. This is the pandemic we need. Let's infect the world with this skill set. Can you imagine the
Absolutely.
world? What sort of world would we live in if we infected everybody with this skill set today? Let's just imagine again. All right, let's pull back again. Let's do it. We're going to take a deep breath. Put your hand on your heart. Pull back. What sort of world can we imagine if 8 billion people were infected with the skill set we talked about today? Can we picture that? What are you picturing? I want to know. Drop it in the chat or shout it out on audio. I don't care. What sort of world are you picturing if 8 billion people had the skills we were talking about today? What does that world look like?
That's my business. That's what I want to create.
Exactly.
That's my personal empowerment services.
Yeah. It's literally what we do for a living. It's what a lot of us do for a living. What does that world look like?
Yeah.
Growth for better? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else, take that deep breath. Picture that world. We can spread around this message. And when I say we can, I mean we can. There's nothing stopping us but us.
Yep.
If
Well,
we
and I got
spread
tired of
this
stopping
skills,
myself.
there you go. Yeah, Heather didn't want to stop herself. I didn't want to stop myself. So we're getting out of our own way. And now we're spreading it to our clients, and they're spreading it to their clients, and they're spreading it to their clients. I was just talking to my friend Aman the other day. Anybody know Aman, a guy? Big name in the transformational industry. Heather knows him. One of our good friends, dear friend. One of the most lovely, loving men I've ever met. He's one of those guys, Aman, a guy, if you haven't heard of him or if you don't know him, he's one of those people you meet and you're like, he seems super nice, but he can't possibly be that nice. No, he really is that nice. He really does care. He's really that nice.
So are you,
His
baby.
What's that?
So are you, baby.
Oh, I don't know. Aman's pretty gay. I would love to be as nice as Aman. He's a great example. His goal is to change 100 million lives. Now, does he expect to personally work with 100 million people? No. But his thing is like, if I can change 100 lives and they can change 100 lives and they can change 100 lives, before you know, you got 200 million lives, right? And I'm one of that first level of 100 lives that he's changed. Right? So he changed my life. And do you think I've changed 100 lives? I think I've changed more than 100 lives. And each of you, if I've affected you, can you change 100 lives? And can they change 100 lives? If we impart this skill set, what would the world look like? I'm seeing a world of peace and abundance and love. Right now, we live in a world of conflict and war and suffering. I don't mean that to be negative. I just mean that to be a description of the world we live in right now. But there's no universal physical law that says we have to live in a world of conflict and suffering. That's the world we've chosen. Let's choose a different world. And I'm not even saying you have to change 100 lives. Maybe you change one life. Right? You guys know the story of the starfish, the kid and the starfish on the beach? Right? Where the little girl and her family are walking on the beach and they see all the starfish that are drying out. And the little girl takes one starfish and puts it back in the water. And her parents said, "What's the point? You made no difference." And the girl said, "I made a difference for that starfish." So change one life around you. Just one. Take the stuff we've learned today. We don't own this stuff. We learned it from somebody else who learned it from somebody else who learned it from somebody else. Take the stuff you learned today and change one life with it. Just one. Start there. And let them change one life with it, and so on and so on. Let's picture where that world can go. I don't know about you, but are you, Betty? Are you ready for a better world? I mean, come on.
Yep.
And again,
Absolutely.
this has got nothing to do with whether you agree or disagree with things we're seeing right now. Are you ready for a better world? And if we don't do it, who's gonna? We cannot sit around and hope that other people are going to do it for us.
Nope, not anymore.
Not anymore. There's no more time. People are suffering. People are hurting. People are divided. People hate each other. If we don't work on it, who's going to work on it? One life at a time.
Well,
One
and we all
becomes
bring
two,
it.
becomes three.
Well, and we all bring a different piece to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at everything. You're not good at everything. And as we get older, there are wisdom keepers. They have experience that we don't have. And only by joining together in a community where we can keep spreading all of the information, talk about our fears, talk about our experiences, and we grow as a community and we get stronger and add more people to this community, the better it's going to be. And that's how we do change the world and make it a better place.
Yeah. Oh, Bob, thanks for the link. I'm going to give butter, or is it supposed to be give better? I'm curious. I'm going to open it, see what happens.
No,
There's the old.
That's right. It is butter.
Okay. Is it from the old economics adage of guns are butter?
I have no idea how they arrived at that.
Oh, okay. Oh, see, so there you go. So if you guys want to click on it, go ahead. This is how you can help an individual person. Bob, do you know her? Do you mind if I ask?
I just saw her interviewed last night.
Mm.
She's a person who was vaccine injured severely and is struggling to survive.
Yeah, so the internet, like GoFundMe and all that, is full of individual people you can help. Right now, I'm sure there's a way to make donations to the families who lost the figure skaters and everybody else in the plane crash the other day. It was so devastating. Most deadly plane crash in 30 years in the US? It's heartbreaking. 67 families, their lives are destroyed overnight. Right? There's so many people we can help. And it doesn't take a lot to help. There's a guy I know who in Minneapolis who he goes to restaurants and he orders a pizza or a burger or a whatever plate. And he's like, how much? And they say, oh, it's 19.99. And he says, make me 100 of them. They're like, what are you talking about? 100? And he's like, yeah, 100. Why? Because he's taking it all to feed the homeless in the city. There's so many ways to make a difference. And then the restaurant owners, when they find out what he's doing, they don't charge him. So many ways we can make a difference. Donate $1 here, $1 there. Give a bigger tip to your server who's making minimum wage.
They're
Donate to
working
people.
hard.
They're working hard, right? I am a large tipper. I've always been a large tipper. Even if the service is bad, I tend to think it's because they're stressed and they're busy and they're overworked. I always give large tips, always. Right? There's ways to help people out. Do the little things that make a difference. I'm lucky I have healthcare. There's no reason I have healthcare and other people don't, except for blind ass luck. I had a medical emergency yesterday and I had the best healthcare in the world to take care of it. Right here in the Russian River Valley in Northern California. There ain't no better healthcare than I got last night.
Yeah.
Why did I get that? Blind luck. I happen to be born at the right place in the right time. That's it. There are ways to give back. There are ways to help your clients. Even if it's imparting knowledge. If you don't have the extra money, that's fine. Then impart the wisdom. There's always a way to help. Sorry, I'm getting very emotional right now. That's okay. I'm trying to envision the world I want to see and how I can help us get there and how we can all help us get there. Bob, that's funny. You have to check out Bob's joke in the chat. That's funny. One with everything. Yeah. The existential hot dog stand. I love it. I love it. All right. So, some of you are already part of this, and some of you have been thinking about it. We've been talking about this for the last several weeks. We will be for the next several weeks. So you guys understand obviously why we do this together and the value of the accountability. Again, accountability does not mean shame and punishment. Accountability means love and support. So we call it our Empowered Business Habits community. So we are emphasizing celebrating our achievements together as a group. Let's celebrate each other and ourselves, setting our daily and weekly goals in loving community, and checking in on how we're progressing all the time in a supportive and loving environment. And we call it Empowered Business Habits. Empowerment. Achievement requires claiming our power. Take back your power. The world's trying to take away your power. Take it back. Nobody can take your power. How about that? You can only give it away. So don't give away your power. And if you have given it away, like I have, we all have, I'm not judging. I've given away my power in lots of points in my life. Take it back. It's yours. It belongs to you. Take your power and take responsibility for your own decisions. We can either be the victims or the heroes of our own stories. I would rather be the hero of my story than the victim of my story. Let's be the heroes of our own stories. That's Heather's. That's what I love about my love. She's got the heroes and victims. Right, Annie?
Yes, sir.
Business. Many of us are in mission-focused businesses. Our businesses get tied up with our lives. That's okay. We want to make a real difference. And habits. Habits gets to be a bad word where we think about smoking or drinking or drugs or whatever. Let's take back the power in the word habits. Let's make it a powerful word and realize that good habits are things we can do to achieve our goals automatically. So we get each other from point A to point B through our daily goal setting and accountability all year long, and then even get from point C to point D and beyond. And we can do this because we're getting together every day to do it. So every weekday morning, we celebrate the previous day's successes and even talk about the previous day's challenges. That's fine. I had challenges yesterday. I was able to express that this morning. You would talk about yesterday's challenges, set our personal and professional goals for the new day, which makes your day ahead of you deliberate in what you're doing and what you're communicating with everybody. Make your day ahead deliberate. And then every Friday, we review the week behind, learn about topics of interest, and get help on accomplishing next week's goals. Now, the last several Fridays, and for a couple more, as you guys know, we've been opening up the Friday weekly calls to the whole community. At some point, they will become just for folks who are subscribed into the group. Most of our offers are kind of one-time things or payment plans. This is our first offer that's a monthly subscription, which means you can join anytime and cancel anytime. Join, if you don't like it, cancel. That's simple. $97 a month includes access to daily accountability calls every weekday. So Monday through Friday. We do take the weekends off. And then we have the weekly review calls on Friday. And we're doing it together, which is the whole point. I will say, look, if you're not willing to be supportive and loving of everybody else in the community, it's not a great fit for you, and that's fine. And it sounds judgmental, but I literally don't even mean it that way. We're all in a different mindset and a different place, and that's fine. But if you want to get support and give support, if you want to receive love and give love in a daily group, this might be just the right thing for you. So check it out at empoweredbusinesshabits.com. I can drop it in there. And I can even find a direct clickable link here if I give myself a second. So empoweredbusinesshabits.com, and where did my thing go? There it is.
I completely agree with Bob. Why wait?
Why wait?
Why wait to enjoy life? Why wait to let go of the stress or to laugh about things? Don't take things so personally, so seriously. Why let it rock your boat?
Yeah. Bob, I love that. Yeah, one day, some of you again, you've heard from some of the folks already who are in this group and already finding that it's changing their life. Just the literal act of all of us gathering every morning is changing lives right now. You've already heard from some of them on that. So, check it out. If it feels right, do it. And Bob, I love it. What are we waiting for at this point? Again, I hate to say, and I'm not trying to be insulting because I'm including myself in this. A lot of us are to the point where we have fewer days ahead than we have behind. It's just a fact for most of us, and that's okay. It's not a bad fact. It's not a good fact. It's just a fact. And what are we doing with that rest of that time? Are we improving our lives? Are we helping the people around us? Or not? Or are we going to flip through and watch Netflix all day? And again, I love watching Netflix all the day. Right? Don't get me wrong. That's great fun. Like I said, I'm watching my puppy right now who made a little nest in the unmade bed that's in front of me. And it looks real inviting. I'm going to resist that temptation because I got shit to do today. I got lives to change today. Right. So I understand the temptation to go lay in bed with the kitties and the puppies and the kids and watch Netflix. That sounds great. Right. And if that's what you need to do today, that's okay. I'm not judging you for it. Some days we do it.
Well, you also need rest. You need enjoyment. It's part of having a balanced, healthy life. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, how do you keep everything in balance, and how do you also keep moving in the direction that you're meant to go?
Absolutely. So Bob, thank you. Why wait? What are we waiting for? Let's do it. Let's get together now. Oh, look at the hearts. I love it. Kristen, it's so amazing. I love it. What are we waiting for? Let's get together every morning. Let's do this. Let's do this together every day. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Any
Thank you all for being
questions?
here.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. We're very grateful. Any questions from anyone? We're good. No questions. All right. All right. Thanks again. I love you all. And I think next Friday may be tricky, but on Valentine's Day, oh, thanks, Alice. I appreciate it. On Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about loving ourselves, pleasing ourselves instead of other people. I think
Yeah.
it's a good subject for Valentine's Day. We done with that? Loving ourselves on Valentine's
Yeah.
Day. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. I will see you soon.